what do you want people to feel when they close the last page of your book? What is it that you want them to take away from your book? What feeling? What like what you're trying to deliver? What kind of emotion are you trying to make them get? Obviously, you want them to read the next book, so you wanted them to leave on that kind of like that kind of want, but also like what do you envision when people finish the book?
I want them to like have they felt the journey the characters went on, like oh my gosh, like they went through all of that, and there's this hint there might be more down the road, like just like kind of wanting more, but like they really felt part of the story, like they felt the characters in it. I want to know what happens to the characters, like will they survive in the next one to come, what's gonna happen there. There's like the sense of like they're part of the journey, like the journey I was on writing it, and like the journey of the story, like they're part of the journey as well now. That's what I want them to take from it.
I see that.
I think like one of the main reasons, cause in the book there's like no swear words and all that. There's violence, but it's like necessary violence, like battle violence, like fighting violence. Because the main reason was at the time when I was writing it, my brother was 13, and I was like, I want to make sure that my brother can read this, and I don't like no swearing or like sexual stuff in there. So that was like one of the main reasons. And like even like the kids at school, I like want them to read, and one of them's finished the book, and one of them's still reading it. I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted. Like just them to see like like there's an author teaching you maths and English and like science in your class. Like you're capable of doing that. Even like one of the kids, I helped him write his own little novella as well, and I'm planning with him to write another one. It's like you could see like possible you could do it, I could do it, you could do it, man.
That's beautiful. That's so true.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Jeoffrey Sarpong podcast. Today I'm here with Nick.
Yes.
Nick, how are you?
I'm good, Jeoffrey. I'm good.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you, brother.
Looking forward to this one.
I'm really looking forward to it too. So obviously we got in contact first. So let's just a little bit of background about how we got in contact. We got in contact from a mutual friend, Marco Sozo.
Yeah.
And I remember when he told me that you're an author, I was really excited because I am a aspiring author myself. I want to obviously write and publish myself, but I'm not there yet. And so to see what you've done, to see the book, guys, here is the book. We'll get more into it. I'll show you again. I got my signed copy here. Get yours. But we'll get into that. But yeah, I really wanted to just get into here, talk about this book and all the other literature themes too. So first off, let's start where we started, right? Talk to me about the dream that you had for this book. You told me that's kind of how it inspired the story and the idea. So talk to me about this dream.
When it was in January, probably. I wrote the date down.
There we go. Yeah.
I wrote the date down. It was like 28th or 22nd. The 20th was of January, one of them. I just had the dream. Like it was so vivid. It was like actually watching a film. Like,
really?
I was like, and from the perspective of like the main character. And when I woke up, I was just like, yeah, I need to write this. Like I never had a dream like that in like many like decades. I'm 30, probably like many decades. I've never had a dream like that where I was like, that was surreal.
Did you even have any idea of a story before then, or everything came from that dream?
No, literally everything came from that one dream.
Wow. Bro, that's crazy.
If I could remember what I did that day, what I ate, what I drank, who I talked to, just to replicate it again. Well, yeah, like everything that came from there. So on the way to work, like got the notes out on my phone, and that's everything that started there, like character names, like the name of the... I didn't think of the name of the title then. I think when I got home that night, I was thinking, what can I call it? So I was like, Night's Over, don't know. Then I had like I think it was like a Christmas gift, or this pack where you make like, I think like a margarita or something with like, we used tequila and all that, and I had this little salt container had Malden on it. That Malden sword. I was like, you know what? Let me add the S in that. I call it Molston. Nice or Molston.
It worked. It worked. Okay, so I want to stay on this dream because I think it's such a fascinating, inspirational kind of thing where you're going the whole thing from this one dream. So you said that the character, you were seeing it from the perspective of the main character, right?
Yeah.
How long was this dream? And like, because this book is now a series, right? Like you've kind of developed it into a series. Was it? How much of the series did you have in this one dream? How much have you developed it since?
I'll say the one dream was probably like 70% of the book, mainly from like like the character's perspective. So like all the other perspectives I had to add, but it wasn't that hard because I already had like the main plot line there, almost all of it there from that one dream. So adding onto it wasn't that hard. It's just like at some points, like obviously like you get like little writer's block. So it's just like, but when I get that, I'll just step away from it completely and just leave. I won't touch it or like go to edit it or nothing. I'll just leave it completely. Then could be randomly, probably like 11 p.m. at night. It could just come back to me like loads of ideas. I'm like, okay, let me bang this out for an hour quickly. And I got work the next day. I had to get up at like 6:30. I was like, no, it's in my head. I need to get it out. I can't leave stuff in my head. It has to come out. Given when I'm at work sometimes and like ideas come in my head, I was like, I need to get it out. Like work end. I need to write this down.
No, I 100% agree. Actually, let's linger on that. Actually, that's a fascinating point because I get that too when it comes to my creativity, my like poetry. Right, it could be 3 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to sleep. I need to go to sleep. I got work the next day.
Yeah.
And then an idea, and I can't go to sleep without like it will just keep on going in your head. What do you think that is? Why do you think it's such a thing that makes us not want to, like, have to get it out? What is it?
I'll say for me, it's like I don't like leaving things undone. I have to do it then. Like if I'm talking to someone or if I'm doing like a random task, I have to finish it then. I can't leave it undone. I don't know. I think that's just something about me. Like I hate leaving things unfinished. I can't do that really.
And so this is kind of like your creative, same. Like even creativity is still the same thing. Like you just have to finish it.
Yeah.
How was it? So once you got the idea and you started to develop it, what was the process like? Talk to me about the creative process of you developing it past. You talked about these other perspectives. Did you start with the characters first? Did you start with the world first? Did you start with the story? Like, how did you go about developing into a fully formed book?
I think I started with like the characters and story first. I didn't even make the map until I finished the book.
Oh, really? So when you were saying these characters are moving here to here, it was just in your head.
Yeah, it's just in my head, like a rough idea of the map. The funny thing about the map, when I finally drew it, one part of the map, I had to change the name of it because I've called it Eastern Sands. And as you can see, I tried to change it to Vermilion.
Oh, Vermilion Sands, yeah.
It's in the north, and like Eastern Sands in the north, that's not going to make sense, bro.
You just like the name Eastern, right?
I was like, okay, that's going to be in the East. But as the story fleshed out, the way the characters were travelling, like, they was heading north, but Eastern Sands is meant to be in the East. How they headed?
I don't know. That's so cool too, where like, I find that fascinating too, where like things like that would develop. Like when you have an idea, especially when you're coming up with a story, you have like, okay, this story is going to be this, but it just keeps on developing the more you write it. What was that process like for you? Like when you had the idea, like how much did it develop from the original idea? How much did you stay the same?
I think so up to, I'll say part 2 was probably most from the dream, and after that it was mainly just continuing on more ideas coming into my head, like part 3, part 4. Like I didn't even dream about those parts, but it just came naturally through like the storyline and how I wanted it to end. Cause I changed the ending once because ending I had before, I wasn't too keen on it. Like, I think I was like, no, I don't want to end it like that because I still want to like use this character or like kind of the storyline isn't finished yet. I didn't want to like rush it. And that was like kind of the problem where I said, no, I have to finish it. I didn't want to rush it. So that's where I had to find the balance. Like, I can't be just like a ball just rushing forward. I had to like sometimes just like take it calmly to the end instead of like, no, we're finishing it now. So yeah, that's how I changed the ending to what it is now.
How did you do that? How did you stop yourself from rushing it? What kind of things did you tell yourself?
I just, when I was reading through it, I was like, I just didn't like how it got to that point. I was like, nah, it didn't flow right. And if I wanted it to flow right, I have to change a few more things previous to that. And I didn't want to do that because I felt those were set and those were in a good place. So I didn't want to change it just for that sake. So I thought the new ending was better, like it was better, and it was allowed me to like either leave it there or continue on. So that's why I changed it to that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's get into the book then. For the readers at home, how would you describe your book? I know, like you've just done another podcast I've seen you, but how would you describe the themes of the book? What is it? All the themes. What is it about? And then I'll also go and then see how similar it is.
I'll say in my book, I'd say there's like conflict, like legacy, like the choices we make, like how they have an impact on yourself and those around you. But I remember I was watching something on YouTube of this writer, I can't remember his name, but it's like he's established like horror and like fantasy writer. And he said, I think I was probably like almost near the end of that book and I was going to start like editing it myself. And he said the one thing that you had to have in your book to make people engaged and want to keep reading for is conflict. Even if it's like with the enemy or with like their own family members or their own loved ones, like there has to be conflict in there because that's like part of the real world. There's conflict.
Absolutely.
Every day you have conflict. Someone bump you on the train. That's
conflict today. Just saying this thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's part of the real world, and
people relate to that.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They can see this. It's their experience. Yeah, 100%. I think also one thing I realized about your book, which was so fascinating to me, was that to me it seems like these characters are African. I don't know if it's obviously this is a fantasy, so there's not actual Africa, but it's the way they carry themselves, it's the way the culture is built up, it's the way especially at the beginning, right? Where I don't want to get too much into it, but like like it seems to me like that's there's a cultural significance there where you kind of seep in a kind of what's the word for it? Afro-Caribbean, like that kind of like traditional way of being, traditional way of just honor and like like that kind of like military, that kind of perspective.
Yeah.
It seems to me that's kind of in there. Am I wrong? When you were kind of building the world, did you envision like a real life world or a real life kind of place and then build it from it? Or how did that go?
No, you mentioning that, I didn't even realise that. Just you saying that, and me thinking that back to it. It's like, yeah, I kind of
really,
yeah, because like it's like the way we was brought up in, like my grandparents are Jamaican, so like my parents were born here, so that kind of like the discipline and like the culture, like all like it's instilled in us, and like passively like will leak into like your work and even that without you realizing it. So yeah, that's cool. I was gonna say something else now.
I was asking, how did you? Is there a way you got inspired from it? Like, did you like think, okay, I'm trying to build it? You probably did it unconsciously, is what you're saying. Did you think, okay, I like this, I'm gonna take this world and build this world and make my own world? How did you build your fantasy world? Essentially, is what I'm asking.
So I was saying like the main the main character. I'll say like what you just said, like the Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean, probably like that influence is probably like around his people, like his like house and his father and all that stuff, and like the other factions or like the royal family is more like a classic like Anglo-Saxon type of family. Then you got like the other main family, like the Silverlights, probably more from like a Lord of the Rings kind of style, like like you had like the dwarves that were like they're like great miners and all that stuff. So I kind of gave them that, but they're not dwarves. I kind of gave them like a dwarvish, like elvish vibe, like the Silver Lights. The families in like the Romanian sands, I made it more like the Middle East because they've got like more like a Middle East kind of vibe there, and like the names, I specifically like gave them names, so like ancient Middle Eastern names that I searched up to like kind of make it seem like that's where I wanted like to show like different areas of this island, but when it comes to it, like they all come together to like face like what's coming in the
What was that
future.
like to create a new world? You know, like you're talking about, you had all these kind of like ideas of Anglo-Saxon, but also Middle Eastern, but you put them through your own filter and then they come out as your own world because they are literally like you're reading and you're engrossed in the world you built because it's a new world. What is that like when you're reading and you're like, oh, like this is nothing like the real world that I've like, you know, and I've kind of built my own thing?
No, it was kind of surreal, like all of it coming together.
Sorry, I'm just getting like that. No, keep going.
Yeah, like all of it coming together in that way, and like there wasn't, like, how do I put it? There wasn't like any, like it didn't seem like it couldn't work. Like I feel like
just fit in your mind.
it fit, and like when I read it back, like when I read it back from that actual book, like I felt like this don't feel out of place. It feels like it could fit. Oh, that's a different region. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But they're different people. They're different from them. That makes sense. Oh, they're close with them. I guess that could make sense as well. So yeah, I feel like it just made sense. Like it didn't feel like I forced it on there. Like the different cultures, I think like it just blended naturally. Yeah,
I can definitely see that. I definitely see that too. I think it's cool too because I love these types of stories. I grew up on fantasy stories. I love like, you know, like the kind of the conflict that you're talking about, the character going through all of these different trials and tribulations and coming out of it a different person or having this grand responsibility placed on them. All of that kind of, that's just how I like the kind of stories that I love. And so to see that in this kind of world, and like I said, to me, I was reading it again, maybe it's my own bias. I was reading it as like, oh, these are like Africans. Like, you know, this guy is like, you know, maybe because of the culture and how they're close to nature, all of that kind of inspired it for me. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought like it was like the way that you portray that, and like the plot beats of how the things that had to be happening, and like I'm trying not to get too into so you can see me thinking very deep about it. But no, it's like I feel like the way you built the world was really intriguing. But I wanted to know, what was the hardest part about building not just the world, but like the characters and like the story? What was the hardest part? Just was it one of those? Was it the characters? Was it the world? Was it the story? What was the hardest thing to figure out for you?
Probably like how I want to put my own beliefs or like fate, all that kind of stuff, like how I view someone that's of like a higher class and all that, because like so everyone's got their own views and all that, so I just put how I felt. Like I didn't go too much into like religion into it. Like there's like aspects of it, like religion or spirituality or some like stuff like that. I know some people on like religion subjects like
it's shaky. It's
so
difficult
I didn't want to add that on there because like some people would just look at that but not look at like the work of the book. So I just had to find the balance of like those kind of stuff. And like with the class system, how I saw like you could see in the films or in other books, like nobles, like they're stuck up, like they treat their people bad and all that stuff. But I didn't want to put that in mind. I saw a noble as like someone that will gain the respect of their people by doing stuff for their people, protecting their people, and like treating them right, like sticking up for them against like the king and all that stuff. That's how I saw someone noble or knight with honor. That's how I saw it.
That's cool. That's really cool. And what came easiest? What was the easiest part to write? Well, just like what just came, obviously you had the dreams, so that kind of the inception was kind of like kind of easy for you. But what part of it, when you started building out, what just came most natural? Like, what did you enjoy doing the most?
I think making the characters and putting them in situations. I think that came easy. Cause I even like used it from my own experiences or experiences I've known or seen people go through, and like the characters, like some of them are loosely based off people I know. So,
do people come up to you and be like, "Yo, is this guy reminds me of me? Like, I know this brother."
So I'll know like for like one of the characters is like I think I told her not, but she'll probably know now. Like it's like kind of based off one of my artists. And
yeah.
I grew up around her a lot, so I know how she'll act in the situations.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that came natural because you're just drawing from experience and then building out from there.
And I feel like that could make it like so much more relatable and like
100%
easy to like follow. Like, oh yeah, that seems like something my mum would do. That's definitely my brother. That snake, he'll do that. Yeah. Something like that.
Shout out to your brother. But no, I agree. I think that's like, I think that's the best part of like writing, when you can notice people, especially in fantasy stories. Another question I had actually was there a reason you chose fantasy, or did that come from the fact that this is how the story developed? Did you intentionally want to portray a fantasy story? What made you go with this genre specifically?
I think because like when I was younger, that's all like I read, like mostly that was the main thing I like reading was fantasy. Even like the films I watched, like many of my favorite films are fantasy heavy. And when I had the dream, it was like in like a fantasy realm, so I was like, we stick with fantasy. And I think I enjoyed it more because it was fantasy, because there's a bit more freedom, like make your own world. Like that's like with epic and high fantasy, like you're sort of creating your own world. Like the more classical one is like based off a real place. So like, that's why I prefer like epic and like high fantasy, because literally like you're creating your own world. There's nothing that really can restrain you except for like your own like imagination and
understanding about the world that you're creating. Yeah. What's the hardest part about creating your own world? I know I kind of asked that before, but I want to get people to understand the process of creating, because I know, for example, when I did it on my masters, right, like when I created the novel, a large part of it was researching. It was the researching the other perspectives, because I had an idea of what I wanted the world to look like, but I had to kind of populate it with real stuff, So it's like you can research, like you even have a map in your book, because you have to understand the terrain, you have to understand the different cultures, and so to do that, I had to learn about different cultures. I had to kind of learn about, for me, it was like learning about the Spartans and like how they would like go to war and those stuff like that. So what was the research? What was the research like for this project or for this book? Where did that take you?
I think because I didn't do much research. I think the research happened without me even knowing it. Like just growing up, like I was like heavy into like the Roman Empire. Like watched like loads of documentaries. Like played video games like Rome Total War. So that gave me a bit of history lesson in that as well. I just really like that period of that period of combat, like the Roman period against like Hannibal and all that. You got like the Gauls and like the Celtics in like Britannia. So I think that was like that kind of fed into the fantasy as well, because I kind of used like some of the terms from there, like how they fight and like the siege battles all stem from there. So I think that was like my pre-research without even knowing it.
You were just kind of like, you were learning about stuff, but also when you came to this, you had it all in your mind.
Yeah. But with the map, I had to do a bit of like geography on YouTube, like how the terrain would work, like where would the river flow, like the mountains, would there be, like where would the mountains be set naturally? So I had to do that as well. I think that was cool. Like I watched the guy draw a map and he was explaining like how each thing would go, and like this will make sense, but that wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
So cool. So that was cool.
That's really cool too. You learned a bit of geography too.
Yeah.
Shout out to our geography teachers. They must be gassed. Speaking of that, actually, what was little bit of like a callback to the inspirations for you when it comes to English. So what were you like in school when it comes to English? Were you like, because for me, right, I loved English in school, but I know a lot of people around me that hated it. They hated English, and the kind of thing, the dream of whatever student they wanted to be died for English back then. But did you enjoy your English classes? Is that what kind of like sowed the seeds for you to do this later on?
I'm gonna start from the beginning and
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
So like in primary school, like I loved English. That's when like all the like little short stories started, and I'll give them to my teacher. She'll give me stickers and all that stuff. I loved that. I was like kind of like a teacher's pet, so I'll do that often. Get the praise. But in secondary school, for what I recall, we didn't do much creative writing, and I think that should be more into English, like creative writing, because that helps you express stuff. Like even in my class at the school I work with, like we do a lot of poetry and writing, and one of the kids, like he's really good at writing the poetry. Like he really expresses himself through the poetry. I think that's good. And in that mainstream, I don't work in a mainstream school. I think mainstream schools I don't think they do that enough. But yeah, and so when I was in secondary, like I found English, it was cool. Like I wasn't bad at it. I was kind of decent. I was kind of good at it. I'm gonna bait this teacher. So one time we was doing our mocks. So this is like year 10 probably. Yeah. So we're doing our mocks, and I weren't in that time because sometimes my asthma was a bit bad at that point. So I was in and out of school sometimes, or I have to go to the nurse office to get my inhaler. So I went in that class, or when it was time, when it was reading a book and it was read out loud, I was a bit shy, so I didn't like reading out loud. So he would kind of like force it on me, and I was like, oh, I don't like this guy.
I don't like this guy.
Yeah, I don't like this guy. Like, but I was like, yeah, fair enough, I get the point. But I don't think what he realised is that reading out loud is like a skill. You could be the perfect reader, but then the nerves get in when you missay words that you easily could read, but you missay it, then you get the few giggles at the back and all that stuff. So I was just trying to avoid that. So one point we had our mocks, and I went in that day. So two of the girls in the class told me, you got could we do like 6A, 6C, like that kind of grading. They said, you got a 6A. And like the next level's like 7, so that's kind of high. And she said, Mr. So-and-so said, that's a fluke. How did he even get that? And you know what?
Oh, no way!
When she told me that vexed me so much.
I'll be vexed too, bro. You dumb!
Like, you're taking a piss.
Taking a piss, bro. How's a teacher saying that, bro?
So like, you're saying because I don't want to read out loud, because I'm not in the class that much, doesn't mean I'm stupid, mate. Like, I'm good at English, like. So yeah, that like kind of killed my experience. And I was in the top set for English, and that put me, after that in year 11, that dropped me to. He must have done it, because he dropped me. I dropped to set 6.
What?
So we had from 1 to 8. So I went from 1 all the way to 6, even though my mock results were like it's high.
Yeah.
Like, what would that be now? Probably like 8 or 7.
Yeah.
In
That's
today's
very
grading.
good. Yeah.
So I was like, that's.
Did you tell anyone? I mean, you probably were like, it is what it is, but
yeah, I was like, I'll be fine anyway. So, but the class was bedlam.
Bro, I was gonna say, I remember 6 classes, bro. Nothing was getting done.
And the teacher was a nutcase as well, mate. Like, he used to get angry so much. And
really?
Yeah,
You started shouting at students?
Yeah, and he punched the light switch on that. Dude, I remember that so clearly. Like,
do you remember these teachers would get so mad at like teenagers? Like they actually wanted to fight us.
My man had high blood pressure or something, bro. He used to go mad. I remember he was reading the streetcar named Desire, and people were talking, and he's reading, and people kept talking, and he's like, "Yo, shut up!" And he's like, "Stop right there!" Right. I was like, no.
Yeah, you lost it, man. Go home.
Yeah, I was like, I said in my own head, I was like, yeah, this is gonna affect my grades. Bro.
That's all he cares.
This is gonna affect my grades.
I need to get out of here.
Then like in year 11, at the end, like I think I spoke to like the head of English, and she put me in this like this tutoring group, but it was like too little, too late, man. And so when I got my GCSEs, I passed lit, so that was like all the Shakespeare stuff. But the language I didn't pass, so that really pissed me off, because I had to do that in college. So when I did it in college, like the first year I got a B, because I had the set class college. No one's messing about. No one's there to like take the rug underneath your feet.
Yeah. No one's hitting light switches.
Yeah, exactly. And like got a B, like attended the classes, blah blah blah. Like what I had to do, and got a B. So I was in my head. I was like, I kind of wasted my time there, man.
Was that one teacher, bro? That teacher that said, he said he couldn't believe it. You got it. I can't believe it. But you just take the book and hit him in his face. Take the book, man. Look.
The last day of term, I had bad intentions, man.
Well, we're glad you didn't do anything, because you're still here with us to write this book. So I'm happy you still didn't do that. Dude, like I remember one time, just before we move on, I remember one time there was this teacher that got so mad at our class, she locked the door. She was like, none of you are leaving. None of you are leaving this classroom. So she locks the door and keeps the keys. And then the students are like, bro, you can't lock us in here. This is kidnapping. They're literally like, this is kidnapping. Yeah. And then like someone from the outside must have like tried to like break down the door. It was bro, English classes was, like you said, bedlam. It was insane, man. It was nothing. Man, I actually feel bad for the teachers now. Growing up, like as an adult, I look back and be like, man, what were you going through, man? Because like to the actions they did there, like I can imagine like the students, man, just like a little bit too much. Like they pushed them over the edge.
Yeah.
They pushed them over the edge just a little bit too much. That's beautiful. Okay, so after you've written the story, after you finished, what is the process of editing? What is the process of getting it out there to people so they can see? And then also talk to me about the process of publishing. What was that kind of like the last kind of lap? What was that like?
So the editing, when I finished it, on the Microsoft Word, you got this that voice thing, like read out loud. So I'll click that on. Because when you read it yourself, you'll miss some stuff sometimes. So I have that read out loud, so it'll read it to me, and I'll read through it as well. So if I don't catch it, the voice will catch it. I'm like, oh, that don't sound right. And I edited it like that. Then I would like mark down, say like chapter 8 down. Something was off about chapter 8, so I'll mark it down like chapter 8, check again. So after I've gone through the whole read through, the ones I say check again, I'll check it again. And then when that's done, I'll get my mum to read it. Like my mum was like my copy editor or something like that. So she'll read through it. And I got my dad, I sent it to my dad, like he read through it and all that stuff. And then after that, like I think that was done, so I've edited it twice. Then when I went, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Now it was my dad that pushed me, saying like, look, like you should try and get this published, because it's really good. He don't read like fantasy, but he reads like more like biographies and all that stuff, like Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, all those type of books. So it's like, yeah, like I don't read fantasy, Nick, and like this is really good. You need to try and get it out there. So I was like, okay. So I went on Google, typed in like book publishers. Cause I didn't have an idea really. So some American ones come up, some UK ones come up, and I was like, you know what? Let me just send it out there. So I sent it to a few of them. And then I did more research, like, and like a few stories came up, like, first time author, like working with a publisher. And when I read it, I was like, oh, that's crazy. So this author was gonna make a series, and the first book he sent to the publisher, what he said in what he wrote, he was saying that they didn't really push his book. So it didn't really do that well. It did okay, but the publisher wanted it to do better, so they just axed it there. And it's like, they have the copyright in it. So he's saying he can't even he's got like 2 more books, and he can't really.
You can't even write it and publish it.
Yeah, he can't really do anything with it. I was like, that scared me because like, oh crap, like.
So if they don't, so wait, so let me get it straight. So if they go, oh, this is not doing what we thought it was gonna do, we're not gonna let you write the next 2, like, because they own the copyright now, because it was a free
that's
book
what
deal.
He was saying. Yeah, that's what he
damn.
was saying. Yeah, unless he like did a 1 book and was hoping, but I don't know. Yeah, that's what he was saying. When I saw a few others were like, yeah, it was okay. Like they pushed my book, but when something else came out, I was like the new thing, like the new topic. They just pushed mine aside and started publishing, like promoting that one more. And I was like, oh damn. I was like, I don't want that to happen to me. Like I'm an unknown. Like they could give me like they could give me like a bad deal and all that. So I just started looking at self-publishing, and I saw like a company that could do it all in house for you instead of like finding the artist, then finding a copy editor, then finding like someone to format it, design the cover. So I messaged them, and when I was messaging them, I got a response from like one of the publishers. It was like this American company. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I should have wrote it down, but I don't. Am I allowed to like pay that? I'm not sure.
I don't think they're gonna see this, man. You're good.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they said, oh, we read your manuscript. Like, you got a good story here.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Like the editing and formatting, like, will help. Like, you'll need work on that. Blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. But like, they offered me like a deal, and I was just like, I don't know. Like it didn't. I'm not saying like it wasn't good. Like I'm new, so I should have said, yeah, let me take it. But I was in my head, I was like, all those stories that I read, that's like, what if it don't work out as well? Like I should have had more faith in my work, but just that slight voice back here is like they could access it straight away, and like all the hard work, you don't even own the copyright to it. And like when at the time when I finished editing that one, I started on book 2. So I was writing down, when I was like, look, you're writing this already, and like yes, not do it. It's just self-publishing. So got in touch with that company, and they read through the script, like the manuscript. It's like, yeah, this is good. We could see it like doing well. So because even that publisher said like we could see it doing well, but. I was like, let me self-publish it. Yeah. So I know everything is mine.
Break down self-publishing for me then. Like, what is... So you mentioned how they, especially this company, was all in-house, where they find out the artist for you, they find a person to edit it for you.
Yeah.
Like, what are the different stages, and how do you what do they do essentially? What do they do to help you? And what do you do yourself? Like,
so when I contacted them, they have like this project manager for you. So she called me. It's like, yeah, she read like the first like 4 chapters. It's like, yeah, this is really good. I'm really excited to work with you. It's like, cool. So I sent over the manuscript. Then they was like, oh, do you have a front cover? Do you have a front cover design? I was like, no, but I have a description of what I want it to look like. So I sent them the description of that cover, and the guy drew it exactly how I pitched it in my head. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. And it's like, oh, what else? I got the map as well. So I had to draw the map to the best of my ability.
Those squiggly lines here and there.
I can't draw for nothing, bro.
You can have it.
But yeah, they made it into that map there. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, so the project manager just like liaise with like the artist, like illustrator, and like the editor. So she'll keep me up to date with what's going on. So when it was time to edit, like the editor, their in-house editor will edit it, then send it back to me with like all the corrections, like if I want to keep it or not. Then I'll send it back again for her to look at it, blah, blah, blah. Then they'll go on to the proofreading. Again, they'll show me if they missed anything, then if I want to keep it or not. So the process was really... It seemed like calm and like easy because everything was like in-house. Like the company, that's what they do. They help you with self-publishing. So that was easy. I think if I did it like through like Amazon, where you have to do everything yourself, then give them the finished product. They really like did everything for me, like the front cover, the formatting, what paper to use. They said, oh, you could use this, that paper. This paper is good for novels. This one's good for picture books. This one's good for like cookbooks. Like what paper you want to use. Like what material do you want like your cover to be? Like everything. Like even getting the ISBN number as well. They sorted that out, and like they're the ones that like put on Amazon for me. Put on like the online stores like Waterstones, Barnes and Nobles. So literally like they did everything for me, like which was good for like the first time. It was because it could have been nerve-wracking. I think that would be really nerve-wracking for me to do all that myself. Like with me and like well, I said I want these things done like there and then, like chasing the artist, then chasing the editor, then chasing like.
It would have been long, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been long, and I know that would have like frustrated me a lot, but because everything was in house, and like the communication was like really reliable. Like every probably like 2 days, like, I'll get an email back. I think the longest I went without a message from them was like 4 days. Like yeah, everything was really smooth until like the day of publishing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then when it gets published, so essentially like when it's going out to these kind of like Waterstones that you mentioned, is that you? Is that you reaching out to Waterstones and being like, oh, I've got a book, I would like to come and put it into your stores, or like I would like to put it online? How is that? What's the process of getting it to the people?
So all the online stores and stuff, they did it. They did it. Because they gave me a form to fill out, like a trading form for Waterstones. If I want the book inside the physical store. So you fill out the form, then you send it to Waterstones, and they'll see if it matches with like the current genre that's like high right now, and they'll decide if they put it in a store or not. So that's how they did it. So like all the online stuff, they did that really. So they said it was up to me to get the physical copy into the store. Yeah.
Did you do like a book launch, like for the day they came out, when it gets published? Well, what's that like? What is the feeling that you're feeling? What is the last things that you're making sure is done and everything like that?
See, I should have done a book launch. I didn't do one. I don't know what. My
second one coming, doing a massive book launch, bro.
My problem was I was too secretive with it. I don't know why. I just didn't want to know like a Jamaican thing. I didn't want no bad mind thoughts on it and all that. So I kept it really like
low key.
Yeah. Until like I was at the pub after work. And it was like Friday the 13th. I was getting the emails that they keep updating me saying, oh yeah, it's gone over to Amazon and someone else. They're just checking it before they publish it on their website. When I got the email on my phone, it popped up. It's like, yeah, your book's officially published now. And I was like, that's mad.
That's crazy.
I was talking to someone like at the phone. And it's like, oh, so what you been doing so far? It's like, yeah, I'll do some writing on the weekend. And I was like, oh, writing? What do you mean? I was like, yeah, I wrote writing a book. I wrote a book. I was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you just got published. It's like, what? But like, everyone there, like the head teacher, the deputy head teacher, there's someone like the SLT and people I work with, just like, that's crazy. Like, why didn't you tell us and all that stuff? That was really cool. Like, some of them bought it there, and then I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Then leading on to that, because it ran Friday 13th, so like it was December, Friday 13th came out. Then we had the Secret Santa at work. So when someone opened their present, I saw my book, and I was like, wait, what? I don't want people to think I'm giving them my book because I can't.
You gotta read this one way or the other.
Like, wait, what's going on? I didn't do that. I remember who did I say it to? I said to one of my guys. I was like, well, I didn't give them my book. When I turned around, like everyone's like holding it up. I was like,
so cool.
My days. Even though like, the head teacher said, like, Nick, I've never seen you so red before.
So cool, man.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. But like, they made me like sign it and all that stuff.
That's so cool.
That was surreal.
Speaking of that then, what's another surreal moment? Like what was it like when you got your first copy, when you got that first copy in your hand, or when you gave it to your mom to, like, you know, you've helped me kind of build this story, now here is the first copy. What are those moments like, and how do you feel during those moments?
When I got it, in the post. And I was like, I know what this is. When I opened it, I just like flick through the pages, and I was like, damn, like from a PDF
from a dream, brother.
Yeah, from a dream.
You manifested it from your mind
to a Word document to like a physical book. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Cause I got like the PDF form of the full book on my phone, but it weren't the same until I fully held it. I was like, yeah, I was speechless for a bit. I was in my room. I was like by myself. I was a bit speechless. I was like, yeah, this like hard work and not giving up, I think
pays off.
Yeah, 100%, man. And even like having good people around you, man. Like my mum, my dad. Like my dad, like was saying, yeah, mum and dad saying like, yeah, you need to get this published and all that. They're not just saying it because I'm their son. Like especially like my dad, like if he says it, he means it. He wouldn't like sugarcoat it or anything. So that was like, yeah, that's.
I'm guessing they were proud one day when they got their copy.
Yeah.
Did you make them buy it? Like you go buy it from the shop like everyone else?
No, they said no, we're buying it. We don't want a copy. So my mum bought it and my dad bought it.
For sure.
So like so I was in the car with my dad and it's like you did this. You did this. No, he said no one could take this from you. You've done this.
100%.
This is yours.
100%. I remember telling you on the phone when we spoke, I was like, bro, like you don't understand how crazy it is. Like you did that. Like that book will always exist.
Yeah.
You know, like you published that, you know, like that. No matter if everything burns down, that book is still there, you know, it's still there, and you did that, you know. Like I was saying, some kid in New Zealand will have that book in his room, you know, and that's going to be passed down his generation. He's going to give to his kid. That's why we love books, you know. That's why we love books. You know, I think that's you carrying that torch, so you should be really proud, man. Speaking on that, actually, talk to me a little bit more about your influences. So. We talked about your school and education, but I want to talk about like your influences and the people that you look up to, the stories that you look up to. So you mentioned, I saw on a recent podcast that you did, that you're a big fan of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. How did they influence you? How did they inspire you in the story that you wrote?
I think it was like with the characters in both. Like you got Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, like. A trio that's like that just got brought together when like the Council of Elrond by fate, like to save the world, and they end up becoming like best friends. Like especially Legolas and Gimli, like elves and dwarves, they didn't really like each other and they became best friends and all that. Like competitions, like in the middle of like heated battle with like the world at stake. These men are counting kills and all that stuff. It's just like you could see that, like you could see that doing that with one of like your closest friends. Like it's like. Oh yeah, I just bought
yeah.
I bought the 5 already, mate.
Playing odds, odds. I get that shot, and it's like, mate, the Demon Lord is behind us. Like, we need to like lock in. Yeah, 100%. You're right.
Yeah, it's just like it's so relatable. Even though it's like it's a made up world, it's so relatable, and like you could see yourself in that. And like even with like Star Wars, I say like with. Like Anakin, like from a young age, like he realized he lost his mum and all that, and that kind of unbalanced him really, and like it's taken away from her and all that, and so I think that set on the path like that could unbalance anyone, like losing your mum at a young age. But when he gets older, he has like a secret like relationship with Padme. And that's like forbidden in like the Jedi Order. And then he has a dream that he's gonna lose her as well. So by any means he finds a way, even if it's down like the path to the dark side. He I'm gonna find a way to save her. And that older me leads him into turning into Darth Vader. So he's gone against everything like that it needs to stand for like good, but he ends up becoming the very thing like you're sworn to destroy. Yeah.
Talk to me about fantasy, because like you mentioned it, right? Like it feels to me like it's not just fantasy. Like so the question I have in my head is it escapism or does it tell us something about our world? So like Anakin's story, for example, right? Him in the quest trying to save the thing he loves becomes the very thing he was sworn to destroy. Is that like kind of like a parable for human beings where you're like, yo, be careful what you let yourself get to because you could turn into the dark. You can like talk to him about that.
You could see that. I think it's a parallel because you can fully see that happening. Like even to yourself, like you're going down the wrong path. Something bad's happened to you, and like I need to fix this by any means. And then you go down the wrong path. Then you like, how did I get here? Like what happened? I think it's a proper parallel, and even like some of the villains in the stories, like you could see them in like some figures in like real life, even right now. Like I'm not gonna put man's name on it, but you could see it. You could see it. You can fully see it, like the influence on the world. Like if they're like poisoning the world.
Yeah, some Palpatines out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Even like even Sauron, like master deceiver. Like you're creating something in secret that controls all the rings. It's just like
the ring, or even the ring itself, that law of power. And you're seeing people get
corrupted
by power.
And even that's what happened. You just it just happened now, isn't it? People got a taste of power and it turns them mad.
It turns them mad, because they don't understand like the power has it's a mind of its own almost, kind of like if I asked you to pick between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, which one would you pick?
I have to pick Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Yeah,
Star Wars?
I love Star Wars. Lord of the Rings always been my favourite, man. Even like speaking on like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, even like another book and film I grew up with, like my mum. I watched it with my mum. It was like Watership Down. I know it's about those who know Watership Down. It's about rabbits trying to find a new like warren to live. But I feel like it's so much deeper than that. So the current warren they're at, like the king there, or like the chief there, he's gone fat and lazy. And one of the younger rabbits, or what's his name? I think it's Fiver. Yeah, Fiver. So in the book and like the film, Fiver seems a bit mad, but he's not. Like you could see things that's gonna happen. He could foresee it. So they went to him and his brother Hazel went to the king saying, the chief saying, look, something bad's happening. It's gonna happen. We need to go. King's like, no, we don't need to go. We got everything here. We got food, alfalfa, like the grass they eat and all that. Nothing's bad's happening. Like you're crazy. But Hazel and all that, they believed Fiver, so they all left. Like help with some of the other rabbits, and it was true. Like the king got complacent, and when they're leaving, like in the film, you could see a big sign saying ground for development. So they come in to build houses, and later on you see like their warren getting gassed out and the holes getting filled in. So all the rabbits that stayed there got killed. So it's like,
damn, was this a kid story? This is deep. This is deep.
Mad. Yeah. And then on their journeys there, they realize like everything in the world is out to get them. Like you got the predators, like the cats, dogs, the hawks, the owls, man themselves, and like their journey. I think it can show like parallels that's happening in our world, like people getting displaced from their homes for new stuff to get built, like complacent. They say like complacent politicians and all that. Just believe everything's fine when it's not. So that when they continue on through their journey, they find this different warren, but it seems a bit sketchy. Like they got fresh food, but all the rabbits inside are hiding, and this one leader's like, "Oh yes, we got food, we got everything, like, everything's fine here." But Fiver's all going mad, like saying, "Nah, something feels so off with these people. Like they feel like it's spooky, innit?" So when they find out that the farmer there in that area sets traps for the rabbits and snares them. So those rabbits there are bringing in outsiders, so they don't get killed, but the outsiders do get killed. So they're setting them up, and we know like that happens. We know that people set you up differently.
Literally, bro, setups. That's crazy.
I've watched it again recently. I was like,
you start making all the parallels. You're like, damn, that's deep.
This is deep. And the main warren that's in their way, this the rabbit's name is General what I think, but he's like people say he's a bully, but he rules through like power and like oppression. He's even got like his own police force. Like these mad rabbits was beating up anyone that don't listen and all that stuff. So he's in the way of them getting to Watership Down, like this place on the hill for them. Like oversees everything, like the safest spot. They want to get there.
Yeah.
But this guy's stopping them, and he's using anything everything in his power, like his size, like his troops, to stop them. So what they do in the end is like Hazel discovers a plan, like we'll use our own enemy against our new enemy. So they get this dog from the farm, they they bite through the rope, and they make the dog chase them all the way to that General What's place. I'm saying his name wrong. I'm fully butchering his name. I want to say to the General's place, and the dog like rips them apart. Like this is like meant to be a children's anime.
What's the story called?
Watership Down. Like
Watership Down. I need to watch this.
The original one is the 1978 one, so it's that proper bloody. The remake one, they haven't made it.
What? So the dog just eats all the rabbits.
Yeah. So like all the tough bully ones, like the ones under the General's control, like beat up all the other rabbits that step out of line. They're all running and screaming from the dog. The dog's ripping through them, but the General comes out. And in his own head, like, he's undefeatable and he's power mad, everything's like, no, I'm not giving in to Fev. And he charges like the dog, like rabbit against dog, like.
What do you think happens?
Exactly. And then at the end, like, they use him as the story as like, if you're bad, the General will come and get you. So there's figures like that in the world where like they believe their power is like that makes them untouchable, but like everyone could get got, man. And
everyone can get got, man. That's the best way to say that, man. No matter what rabbit you think you are, you can get got. That sounds like it's such a bleak world to live in, though. But okay, the question I was going to ask you was, if not that one, if not Watership Down, what other world would you like to live in? What world would you, what fantasy world? What's one fantasy world you can see yourself living in that you wouldn't mind living in? And remember, you have to actually live in the world too. It's not, it's not just there for a little bit and you get to put it out. You're living in this world. So I have a thing too for me too. Why you answer that question?
I'll say it's a hard one.
I can go first.
Yeah, go on.
So I got two. The first one for me is The Wheel of Time. I don't know if you heard of it. It's The Wheel of Time. It's like a fantasy story. That's my favorite fantasy story of all time. And it's the reason I'd like to live in it, even though it's gory. It's not that gory. It seems like, whatever. And the main characters, if I'm not part of the main characters, it feels like the best place to live. Because the main characters are the only ones who go through struggle. Like, they're like the only one who know the world's going to end. They know the darkness is coming. Yeah. Everyone else is chilling, having the best of time. They're the only ones like, oh my God, you guys, we're actually going to die. Like, and they have to like figure that out. So if I'm not part of the five main characters, then I'd love to live in the Wheel of Time. I also just think it's such a brilliant, like a really, really well told story. And the other one, what was the other one I was thinking of? Fantasy is such a difficult genre, right? Because it's like, I think the magic and the mysticism and the mystery I would love. But also these places have like golems and like, actual like animals who will rip your head off. So like
quick and in a hurry, bro.
So like, I don't know. I think I'll stick with The Wheel of Time. What would you say? What fantasy world would you not mind living in?
Yeah, I would say like Middle Earth, but it's kind of peaking like the Third Age. So I don't want to be in the Third Age. But I'll say like Star Wars.
Star Wars,
because it's futuristic and all that. So yeah, I have to say Star Wars.
Star Wars probably the best one.
Yeah, probably just like some next shuttle pilot or something.
No Stormtrooper?
Nah, I can't get into all that stuff.
You can't be part of the dark.
Nah, maybe a Jedi in it, but we know what happens to them, man. Pick all the 66, he gets finished.
It's not good. Yeah, you're right.
So that's a humble pilot, man.
Just flying my little. I've not seen Star Wars, guys, so like don't listen to me when I make these jokes. I actually don't know what I'm talking about. He says pilot, I'm like, okay, cool. I guess that sounds like a good idea. Okay, so one of the next question I have, like, is now I want to get into like giving advice, because a lot of my friends, a lot of people that I knew growing up wanted to write a story, and I know like they found it difficult for many different reasons, right? And so I think it'd be good to kind of like see the lessons that you've learned from obviously publishing this book, and any advice that you would give to other artists or any other writers that want to go on this journey. And I know even though you're also going on the journey too, so I want to get more into what you envision it going, where you envision it going forward. But before we do that, talk to me a little bit more about what how do you know, because one of the things I speak to my friends a lot about is that they struggle to know the difference between being structured in terms of like when it comes to writing a book, right? Being structured and okay, I'm gonna plan every chapter, or just letting it go between, like just writing out what they feel, writing out how it comes out. Talk to me more about your process of that. Like, what advice would you give to people about figuring out how to balance structuring it and like doing it that way, or also just letting it go and just writing it because you know that was also beneficial for you too, because you can just get the story rolling.
I think it depends on the kind of person you are as well. So with me, I didn't really plan out the whole book. I just started at the first chapter, then I kind of knew how the middle was gonna happen and how the end, but everything else just flowed. And with like each scene, I pictured it in my head. Like if it wasn't from the dream, like, I could picture it in my head. Then I was like, yeah, this flows nicely with what happened before, and it could lead it to what happens next. But I'll say don't get too like bogged down with like you have to plan everything out. Like every chapter you have to plan out. Just like the best thing is just let it flow naturally in your head, because if you're on one chapter and like you get into the end and it's like, oh wait, this is gonna, something just pops in your head, like, oh yeah, this is gonna go nicely with the next one. But if you got something written out already, then you think of that as well. It's like it's gotta be a confidence, like
you're working towards a goal rather than letting the story write.
Yeah. So you need to like, I'll say just let it write itself. Like just let your imagination just flow. Let it just go where it takes you. And even if it don't make sense, like when you finish it, some bits don't make sense. That's where you could go back to it, and that's when you could like structure it out properly. Have like a plan. But I say for the beginning, just write, man. Just literally just write.
And how long did it take you to your whole process? Do you remember how long roughly it took you?
Yeah, so I think from the train ride in the morning on the phone until the very end where I started contacting the publishers, I'll say like 2 years. 2 years.
Of just like, and I can imagine you're like locked in all those train rides, just kind of like you're in that world all the time.
Yeah, I had the AirPods in, music playing, and just writing. Like any dead time I got, even on that we had like trips in school, we was on like the bus. I'll just be there writing. I'll say like another point, like make use of dead time you got, like journeys. Even if you don't have anything, just like jot down a little ideas like you might want to add or you might be thinking of. Because dead time, you need to make use of it. Otherwise, you're just sitting there like you got like a 2-hour train ride or something. You're just sitting there like this, like
doing nothing.
Yeah, just
like
make use of it, man.
Yeah. And how do you know when the story is done? Like as a writer, I mean, like for example, you're making a second series, right? A second series of this. You're making this into a series. So you're writing the second book. Sorry. So how do you know when the first story is done? Is that something you think of at the beginning when you're planning it out, or is that you get to that stage and be like, actually, I think I'll stop here?
I think I got to a certain point in the book where like something happened, and I knew I was like, okay, this is gonna be the end of the like Xavier's story. Like he won't be the main character in like. Then I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but that's not his story arc's done. Like he's done what he has to do, and now he's gonna go on to the other character, like a new set of characters. They're gonna be like the main. It's gonna be their story arc now. But with the series, I think if it comes to a natural end, like you just like each book, you just see how it goes when you just see, okay, this is a good place to end the whole thing, because you don't want to keep forcing it. But if it's good and like you end up with like 6 books, yeah, that's cool. But with my one, I think, cause right now my whole series is 4. I've got like the prequel, like the story before, then this one, second one, and the third one. So all 4, and I think the third one, well, third but fourth in.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's like ending. Like, yeah, that's got to be the way I see that one. I kind of planned that one out already. The way it ends, I was like, that's perfect end. That's the perfect way to end it. Like, it's a natural ending. Like, all the stuff that I had to do is done. There's no new people coming up. I think, yeah, it looks like a natural ending. You feel that's natural within, like, your story. I think that's when you know it's ended. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So, like, you think, like, okay, so even if you're as you're saying, you're writing it kind of as you go along, you're kind of seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
But then you also have an idea of, like, actually, this is where I think the story, the arc of the story kind of ends, and they just end it there. What if they offer you more money to write more? Do you just go like, no, I'm okay. This is where I feel like it ends. How do you think about that? Like, obviously as it gets popular and more people want it, do you have a hard line of like, I'm not gonna write anymore, or do you want to see how it goes first?
Oh, that's a hard one, because people are like demanding, but with me, I can't force it. If it's not there in my head, I can't force it. Cause that's when I think it'll just be pants.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
if it ends naturally, then
it's like we were talking about with Star Wars. You know, like at some point they should have just ended it and be like, we're done. Like,
exactly.
But they got too much money for it, so they just kept going.
Yeah, that's like, just end things. Like as you said with Star Wars, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but the last 3 films,
not good.
I don't want anything. Like, I watched them once, and that's it. I don't. Yeah, it's just they could have done it. They could have done it a different way. Where like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I think it just depends. It really depends
on how you do it.
Yeah, it really depends how you do it.
What do you want people to feel when they close the last page of your book? What is it that you want them to take away from your book? What feeling? What like what you're trying to deliver? What kind of emotion are you trying to make them get? Obviously, you want them to read the next book, so you wanted them to leave on that kind of like, that kind of want, but also like, yeah, what do you envision when people finish the book?
I want them to like have they felt the journey the characters went on, and like oh my gosh, like they went through all of that, and there's this hint that might be more down the road, like just like kind of wanting more, but like they really felt part of the story, like they felt the characters in it. I want to know what happens to the characters, like will they survive in the next one to come, what's gonna happen there. Just like the sense of like they're part of the journey, like the journey I was on writing it, and like the journey of the story, like they're part of the journey as well now. That's what I want them to take from it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think the journey is going to be so interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it too, because I think it's like I said, like it reminds me of kind of like that traditional kind of stories that I think we're lacking in this industry. You know, I think like a lot of fantasy stories kind of feel the same, you know, but that's me from reading back in the day. You know, I don't really read much fantasy right now. That's another question I had too. What do you think of the current, I don't know if you're like in the know about the current fantasy stories that are coming out, but to me, it kind of feels like the stories that we grew up in and when we were kids, they're done. Like no one's writing like new Lord of the Rings, or no one's writing new Star Wars. Closest thing we've gotten is Harry Potter. That was like decades ago, you know. What is that like? What do you think about the current state of like literature, or the current state of just like fantasy books, and you know? Why do you think there is no new Lord of the Rings or new Star Wars just out right now?
I think it's taken like a shift into like a different kind of fantasy. But like one fantasy series I'm on right now, like the guy I work with, Alex, he put me on the first book, like Emperor of the Vampires by J. Christoph. So his series is really good. It's about like it's half vampires, like they're fighting against like the vampires that's taken over the world. So yeah, that series is good. I like that series, and he's got a third one that's coming out soon. But I think all the new fantasy stuff is mainly, I think they've gone really heavy onto like romanticy stuff or like kind of like, how do I say it? It's not like, is it like cozy fantasy, but there's not that much conflict, not that much drama. It's more like, I'm not gonna say soft, but it's more.
I know what you mean. It's like they're writing for a certain demographic.
Yeah. I think that's getting pushed heavy now.
Yeah.
So all that, like, well, I've got nothing against it. I haven't read it because it's not my cup of tea. Like this, like my cup of tea, like classic fantasy, like high fantasy, like there's guts and glory kind of stuff.
But to me,
I don't sound like a meathead, but that's what I like. That's what I grew up with, like from my
I was gonna say.
Yeah, from
that's
a young
what we grew
age.
up on.
I was like King Arthur and like watching barbarians, like fighting barbarians and all that, like fighting orcs and goblins. Yeah, that's what I grew up on. So that's what I want to see. That's what I want to read. But if those, like the other people, they want to read like the romanticy stuff, yeah, that's cool. But I think that's getting pushed a lot.
I completely agree with you, and I think deeper than that, I think the publishers are going to push what they think is going to sell, but not what they think is best for the genre. I think the genre itself needs the high orcs and the barbarians because I think those kind of stories, like we were talking about before, they've got like messages behind them. They've got reasons there behind them, and like, they kind of show you how to connect with something other than yourself, or like you're talking about Lord of the Rings, them not being from the same kind of species, but they're kind of getting along. That's the message in there. But now it's like kind of like, okay, these guys love each other. Like it's too like surface level,
It is,
and it's like you need to go further. I think for the fantasy genre too. I think that's what's always been the ones that has pushed the envelope when it comes to fiction story writing. But I don't know. I don't think it does that anymore, which is a shame.
No. Like especially like when you said like in like Lord of the Rings, like Legolas and Gimli, like right at the end, like they said like I'll die side by side with you. You're my friend. That doesn't matter if you're elf or dwarf. Even like I'm not sure in this book, but in the second one, I kind of hint to that, like, I can't think of it.
You can't even... See, this is the thing. You can't just, like, let everyone read this, and then we can just talk about it.
I kind of do that as well. But even in life with that, now, I remember my granddad used to tell me, like, like, when he came over here from Jamaica, like he's saying, like, people, like, some people were like so racist and all that, but then he found when he had like friends that were like white and like Asian and all that stuff, but he still had like the other people there that was kind of, I don't want you here and all that. And that's like you see that in like fantasy stories, like a human, or they'll team up with like an orc, but all the rest of the orcs and humans, like they hate each other. It's like those to like bring them together, like kind of those stories like that. But like you said, like you don't really see it that much anymore.
I hope someone out there writes the next one, and I think that's what you're doing. So let's champion that. Let's push that, more of that. Can't wait for the second book, which we hoping not to spoil, so people can actually go and write it, go and read it themselves. Okay, let's wrap this up. So if you just looking at the 16-year-old version of ourselves, right? That's wants to write a story. That's hates the English teacher who's telling them pagan. What advice would you give to him on how to kind of build his life in a way, or like build his creativity in a way where he can get into a position where he can write his book himself? What advice would you give to that kid?
I'll say just try not to let people affect your state of mind, man. Because like once you get like the negative voices in your head, some people it's hard to get it out. Like even with me, like when someone says something negative to me, I kind of like I hold it sometimes. I mean, I got like a bad temper sometimes, and like it stays in my head, and like it festers. But I need to like even like the guy I work with, Alice, like you can't let people affect your state of mind. Look, they're getting on with their day, they're not thinking about it anymore, but you're still in that, and it's affecting you and affecting what you could do. So that's what I was saying. Just like be yourself, like let creativity flow, and don't let anyone say like you can't do it. Like you shouldn't do that. Like if someone said like if I told people about it at the beginning, like when I was writing it, and they said, "Oh, why are you writing a book? You're not a writer. You didn't do this and that. Why are you doing that?" But yeah, I was saying, like, them bad mind people, you can't let them affect you. Because if I let people affect me, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here today. I was saying, you just have to honestly, like, keep a positive mindset. Like, it'll keep you sane and it'll keep you young as well. Positivity keeps you young, bro.
100%, bro.
These bad mind people, like, stressing
and getting high bad pressure, bro.
Yeah, to make you look older than you are, man. You know what I'm saying, bro?
No, 100% agree, man. It's like, especially about positivity, even especially about just being single-minded, not letting other people affect your mind, because anything I've done has been the same way, where it's like, I think I'm a bit like you. I don't like evil eye, so I'll keep it quiet until it's done. But it's also, you're like, I want to promote this stuff. I want to make people know about it. But it's because I'm just skeptical of people. You know, some people, they'll see something and they'll bring it down for their own feelings. Got nothing to do with you. It's just how they feel about themselves. And so I've learned to just kind of like pull things out of the way. But not a large part of it, I think any creative has to learn, is that you have to know how to be in your mind. You have to know how to take criticism. You have to also know when to even not even think about it, and not even take the criticism, because it doesn't really matter. You know, it makes no difference to the work that you're doing. So I'm glad that you didn't listen to them. I'm glad that you didn't even tell them, because then it allowed you to push forward. And
because even just quick, like, even I was talking to someone on Insta, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'll review your book." I was like, "Cool," like, sent them the PDF and all that. But they said, "I'll blah blah blah, certain stipulations. I won't put the review up, so and so." So she even was saying that, "Yeah, I'm not gonna put the review up of your book." And I was like, "Okay, like, tell me why." But she's like, "Oh, like, your writing style, I didn't like it. It felt too, like, it was too heavily like, oh crap. It was too, oh my days, my mind."
To use some word to describe it, or what?
She used a different word, but I was like, it was too dialogue heavy for her. But that's the way I wrote, like, conversations. It was character driven, so the story was driven by the character interactions with people and the world. Like, but how she wanted it or thought it would be is that, it would be like more descriptive heavy. But I don't like books like that, where it's just like probably like 80% descriptive, 20% dialogue. It's just like describing like every bit of this, like, oh, the lines are blue, they weave together, and the red line crosses across. Like, no, that's long. That's me in it. And like, even like when I read like the other reviews, they're saying, "Oh yeah, I like the fast paced." Even one of them from like this blogger saying it's like refreshing. Kamoni, like, basically, like, loads of epic fantasies. They're really dialogue heavy, but she said, "Oh, NK Nash got straight to the point. Like, he didn't bog it down with like heavy lore or like heavy world building. Like, I did a bit of world building, but I knew my story was character driven, so I've drove it through the characters and like their perspective and what they faced in the world. And I think that matched with like how I saw it in my head as well, like more cinematic, and that's how that's how people saw it in the book as well. So yeah, I could have took that criticism bad, because she's like basically slating how I write. But I was like, you know what? That's just one person. That's their opinion. That's how they thought it would be, but it wasn't. So basically, it's not the book for you. Then just move on, innit? Like, other people enjoyed it, gave it 4, 5 stars. Like, it's cool. Like, even like the criticism I got back and the feedback, I think it was good, because thinking back to it, I could see it. Like, some of them saying, I missed out descriptions of some of the characters, and when I read back, like, oh yeah, I did. Like some of the minor characters, even though they weren't in it for that long, like some people would like to know what they look like and how, blah, blah, all that stuff. But I was like, yeah, that criticism, I could like, yeah, I could take in on board. But if you're just slating my writing style without understanding how I write and how I picture the stuff, and it's a bit meh, but.
I agree. You have to learn which criticism to take based on what you want to improve. I get the same thing with the podcast all the time. People criticizing certain aspects of it. I'm like, I'm not bothered about that. Like, no, I'm not bothered about that right now. I care about these things. And if you criticize the things that I care about improving, I'm all ears. Yes, of course. Like, I think it's just about understanding what the person's trying to do. if you understand and you criticize from a place of understanding, then I'm open to it. But if you criticize from a place of it's not what you want it to be, then I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, just make your own thing. Then I don't really care about.
Yeah. That literally that was what that person did.
Yeah.
Everything else, like if you saw from the first couple of chapters, it was like that. Then you could tell that's like my writing style.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, so talk to me about where people can find it. We've got the book here. They can see the cover. But talk to me about your Instagram, where people can find it, where they can support, where they can get a copy themselves, all of that good stuff.
So online it's available on Amazon, so like Amazon UK, like all the basically it's Amazon anywhere. But I even got like a few people like in India that's bought it as well.
Let's go!
Yeah, a few reviews for India and all that. That was crazy.
That's sick.
Yeah. And yeah, like
from London too.
A few US and Canada.
Yeah.
So Barnes and Noble, that the American book. It's like Waterstones online. There's a few I can't remember the top of my head, like Apple Books. There's a few online ones. It's on my Insta profile.
Send them to me and I'll put them in the description.
Yeah,
too. So
yeah.
Just have a look in the description if you want to know where you can get it.
Yeah. So I'm on Insta. I just made the TikTok. I never had TikTok before. My friend's like, you need to make TikTok, BookTok and all that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And Twitter as well. And Threads, I'm on those. I can't remember the username off the top of my head though.
Again, we'll find it. We'll put it in the description if we can find it. But no, bro, this is amazing. Like I said to you at the beginning, like I think it's so cool that you wrote I think it's incredible that you wrote it because it's like it's kind of crazy to see one of the brothers actually write a book, go out there, do it, dedicate 2 years or even more. So it's kind of your whole life. You could be thinking about this all in your head. To go through that struggle, the chance to actually publish a book, but then also reading the book, I think is amazing. It's an amazing piece of work. Like I was saying, it kind of breaks that. I think a lot of what that guy was saying about it is true. It's like, it's refreshing, like a lot of the fantasy stories are kind of like slow and they take so long describing the leaf and the birds. And it's like, bro, just get to the point, and you can definitely see the cinematic aspects of what you've kind of built here. It's kind of like, it's kind of cinema. It's like boom, 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 boom. And then the characters go through all of these different things, different conflicts. And then I think just to see that, like I mentioned, it kind of feels home because it feels traditional, kind of traditional culture, that it feels like that to me of reading it, so I really enjoyed it and I really enjoy obviously the military aspect of it. I'm trying not to spoil it, but yeah, there's loads of parts, there's loads of things that happen in the story which I really enjoy. I'll say it like that. But yeah, no, I thank you for coming on and speak about it. I think, just keep on doing it, man. Keep on pushing it. Keep on getting out there to people because I think people are going to love it. They're going to see it. The fact that you're self-authoring it too just shows how much you believe in it. I think it's super cool. I think, I'm so glad that you've got full control of this so you can actually do what you want with it, because it shows that, it's like it's your brainchild, You can see that.
I think, like, one of the main reasons, cause in the book there's like no swear words and all that. There's violence, but it's like necessary violence, like battle violence, like fighting violence. Because the main reason was at the time when I was writing it, my brother was 13, and I was like, I want to make sure that my brother can read this, and I don't like no swearing or like sexual stuff in there. So that was like one of the main reasons. And like even like the kids at school, I like want them to read. And one of them's finished the book, and one of them's still reading it. I was like, that's what I wanted. Like just them to see like like there's an author teaching you maths and English and like science in your class. Like you're capable of doing that. Even like one of the kids, I helped him write his own little novella as well, and I'm planning with him to write another one. It's like you could see like possible you could do it, I could do it, you could do it, man.
That's beautiful. That's so true. Man. I think that's the impact that all writers want. So thank you for that, brotbe. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. Bro. Thank you for doing this, man. Thank you for watching. I hope to have you here again when you make the second book, bro. Yeah, we gotta do this again, bro. Okay, brother. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Until next time, peace.